What if the life you're calling safe is actually the riskiest path you could take? I used to think stability was the goal. A steady job, predictable income, no big waves. That was success. I wore my routine like armor, believing it protected me from failure. But over the last few years, I started to feel a quiet erosion, not of my bank account, but of my spirit. My curiosity dulled. My ideas grew smaller. My sense of possibility shrank to fit inside the walls of what was normal. I wasn't failing. I was fading. Welcome. I'm really glad you're here. This isn't a place for panic or hype. It's a space for honest reflection, especially for those of us who've been coasting in the middle lane, wondering why we feel so restless despite having everything figured out. If that's you, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to Elevate Your Daily. It's how we stay connected as we navigate the quiet courage it takes to step beyond the average. Today, I want to talk about something that's been haunting me. The hidden danger of being average in 2026. It's not that average is evil, it's that it's invisible. It doesn't scream at you to change, it whispers, "This is fine," while your potential gathers dust in the attic of your life. I didn't wake up to this in a dramatic moment. It was a slow dawning, built from missed opportunities, subtle regrets, and the growing sense that I was watching my own life from the passenger seat. To find my way out, I stopped asking, how can I be more comfortable, and started asking sharper, more unsettling questions. These 5 became my compass. 1. What am I tolerating that I've mistaken for stability? 2. Where have I traded my potential for the illusion of security? 3. What would I attempt if I stopped fearing being too much and started fearing being irrelevant? 4. How is my comfort zone quietly training me to be replaceable? And 5. What legacy am I building by staying in the middle? Let me walk you through how each of these questions cracked open my complacency and pushed me toward a life that finally feels like my own. Number 1. What am I tolerating that I've mistaken for stability? For years, I told myself I was stable. I had a job that paid the bills, my routine was predictable, nothing bad happened. But when I looked closer, I realized I wasn't stable, I was stagnant. I was tolerating a low hum of dissatisfaction. I was tolerating work that didn't light me up but paid just enough to keep me from leaving. I was tolerating relationships that were polite but empty. I called it peace. In reality, it was resignation. One morning, I was scrolling through my calendar, block after block of meetings I didn't care about, and I asked myself this question for the first time. The answer hit me like cold water. I'm tolerating a life that requires nothing of me but my presence. Stability isn't the absence of change, it's the presence of resilience. Real stability comes from knowing you can adapt, create, and thrive no matter what happens, not from hiding in a bubble of predictability. That day, I started making small changes. I said no to one meeting that served no purpose. I blocked an hour for deep work. It felt terrifying, like stepping off solid ground, but it was the first time in years I felt truly alive. Number 2. Where have I traded my potential for the illusion of security? I used to believe that security came from a title, a contract, or a long tenure. I stayed in roles long past their expiration date because the idea of starting over felt too risky. But here's what I realized too late. The real risk isn't in stepping into the unknown, it's in staying somewhere that no longer fits who you're becoming. The job I clung to for security was slowly eroding my confidence. Every time I silenced an idea because that's not how we do things here, I was teaching myself that my voice didn't matter. Every time I accepted a project I didn't believe in, I was betraying my own standards. I wasn't building a safety net, I was building a cage. When I finally left, it wasn't because I had a perfect plan. It was because I could no longer tolerate the cost of my own silence. I realized that true security isn't external, it's internal. It's the confidence that you can figure things out, that you can learn, that you can rebuild if you have to. That confidence doesn't come from staying put, it comes from daring to move. Number 3. What would I attempt if I stopped fearing being too much and started fearing being irrelevant? This question changed everything for me. I spent most of my life editing myself down to be appropriate. I softened my opinions, diluted my vision, and held back my enthusiasm, all to avoid being too intense, too ambitious, or too much. But in 2026, the real danger isn't standing out, it's blending in. When information is free and attention is scarce, the only thing that cuts through the noise is authenticity, raw, unfiltered, and unmistakably you. I asked myself this question during a low point last year. I was scrolling through social media, feeling invisible, and it hit me. I'm not afraid of being judged, I'm afraid of being forgotten. So I made a decision. I stopped asking, will they like this, and started asking, does this feel true to me? I launched a project that was deeply personal, knowing it might not resonate with everyone. And you know what? Some people didn't get it, but the ones who did, they connected with it in a way my safe work never achieved. I realized that being too much for the wrong people is the surest way to be just right for the right ones. And in a world of algorithms and automation, human uniqueness isn't a liability, it's your most valuable asset. Number 4. How is my comfort zone quietly training me to be replaceable? This was the hardest truth to face. In my old job, I was good at following processes, I was reliable, I did what was asked, and for a long time, that felt like enough. But then I noticed something unsettling. The tasks I was doing could be automated, outsourced, or handed to anyone with basic training. My value wasn't in my uniqueness, it was in my compliance. My comfort zone had become a training ground for mediocrity. Every time I chose the easy path over the creative one, I was practicing for irrelevance. I read a report last year that said the skills most in demand in 2026 aren't technical, they're human: critical thinking, originality, emotional intelligence, the ability to connect dots in new ways. These aren't skills you develop by staying in your lane. They're forged in the friction of challenge, experimentation, and even failure. So I started seeking discomfort on purpose. I volunteered for projects outside my expertise. I asked questions that made people uncomfortable. I created work that couldn't be easily copied. It was messy, but for the first time, I felt irreplaceable. Not because I was perfect, but because I was unmistakably me. Number 5. What legacy am I building by staying in the middle? This question came to me in the quiet hours after my father passed away. As I sat with his old journals, I realized he had spent most of his life playing it safe, working a job he didn't love to provide for a family he adored. He was a good man, but in his private writings, I found pages of regret, dreams he never pursued, ideas he never shared, words he never said. It broke my heart, not because he failed, but because he never knew his own potential. That night, I asked myself, what legacy am I building by staying average? The answer was stark. A life that was easy to explain, but hard to remember. A life that was comfortable, but not meaningful. A life that met expectations, but never inspired them. I don't want to be remembered for how well I followed the rules. I want to be remembered for the courage it took to write my own. Staying in the middle isn't neutral. It's a choice with consequences, and the cost isn't just your time, it's your story. Your turn. One simple step. If you're feeling the quiet pull of your own unrealized potential, here's one small, powerful step you can take this week. Identify one area of your life where you're choosing comfort over contribution and make one move toward the edge. It doesn't have to be dramatic. If it's your work, share an idea you've been holding back. If it's your creativity, publish something unfinished. If it's your relationships, speak a truth you've been avoiding. You're not trying to leap to the top, you're just refusing to stay in the middle. That single act of conscious discomfort is a declaration: I am here, I am awake, and I will not let my life pass me by. I'm sharing this because I haven't escaped the pull of the average. I still feel it every day, the lure of the easy path.